A goopy box sits in the summer heat on a doorstep. By the smell of it, the cheese had been bad for at least a day. Your appalled end user reaches for the box, nose crinkled, eyebrows furrowed. Who sent me this garbage? They ask. They find your company's name on the packaging, a name you printed with pride. Your reputation is tanked, and you owe them a replacement. Or consider this situation. You received a time-sensitive sample from a patient. Due to unforeseen circumstances, it took 2 days longer than expected to arrive at the lab for analysis. The technician who retrieved the sample from the packaging, but notices that the cold packs are warm. The temperature indicator in the box shows this sample had an unfavorable temperature excursion. It's good for nothing. The consequences, you need a new sample, and the important test results are delayed further. But aside from hypotheticals, I want to talk about you. You accepted the invite to be here. Why? Maybe because you're having issues with your own shipments, or maybe your pack out just needs a second look. This could be perfect timing. Let's get into it together. Welcome to our webinar. So you think your pack out works? Today, we will show you some worst case scenarios, how to avoid disaster, and the hallmarks of proper packaging. We plan to equip you with tools and knowledge so that your shipments arrive safely, without goop, within temperature range, and without waste. But first, let's introduce our friendly faces. My name is Laura Szymanski. My position is in sales, design, and marketing, which means I do some graphic design, content creation, and I'm even responsible for these webinars. Which reminds me, if you have a topic that you would like to see covered in a future webinar, bring it up at the Q&A segment at the end. I'd love to hear from you. All right, Samantha, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Hi, I'm Samantha Santeler. I have been with Polar Tech for 6 years. I started in an inside sales role and was promoted up to outside sales, where I have been working since. I was born in sales and cold chain is in my blood. I help customers every day mitigate disasters like you'll see today, and I look forward to helping you avoid them too.
My name is Autumn Santeler. I'm the general manager of Polar Tech, and I've been with the company for 12 years now. I look forward to sharing my experience and advice with everyone today.
So now that you've met us, now meet our packaging nightmares. Samantha, let's hear some examples.
On your doorstep. This may be a familiar occurrence. It may have happened to you, someone you know, or even your customer. Have you received a package with chicken goo inside? This is so gross. Once chicken defrosts, the boxes will have a slimy salmonella goo, which will leak all over the rest of the contents, the box, and potentially your kitchen counters. Yuck. Did your cardboard box fall apart at your door? We see this happen when there's little or no insulation and condensation ruins the box, making it fall apart upon arrival. These boxes are difficult to pick up without making a mess. Did you buy chocolate-covered strawberries but received a pile of brown mush? This may sound unbelievable, but we've had countless customers seek our guidance on resolution. Not only is it gross, but it's embarrassing. When you opened your life-saving medicine, was nothing there to protect it? This one can be disastrous. Excursion temps on this could ruin your medicine, making it unusable with serious consequences to your customer. Autumn, let's hear some of your examples.
Your company. It's never enjoyable to navigate customer complaints or costly replacements for product failures, especially due to packaging, shipping, and transit-related issues. When companies like yours work so hard to get new customers, no one should be one bad packaging disaster shy of forever losing any customer. Exploding chicken or other products and materials in transit is a clear sign of not enough shock absorption or refrigerant. Any product that is thrown away upon delivery due to breakage or temperature excursion is a sign of insufficient packaging materials. This is why companies like FedEx and UPS deny claims submitted by you and your customer. Replacements and returns can be very costly, especially when the ultimate cost isn't sending the replacements, but rather losing your customers. None of these experiences need happen. Product failures should always prompt your company to perform investigations and seek better protection for your products. Hoping for the best outcomes using mediocre packaging materials will not equate to success.
Shipping is a piece of cake unless it arrives at the end user looking like this. This real photo from a bakery was sent to a salesperson at Polar Tech. Reasons for failure like this can include 1, that the company did not use enough refrigerant, which allowed the product to thaw and get damaged. 2, that they did not precondition or freeze the cake beforehand. And 3, they did not fill air gaps in the package, so there was major movement while in transit. The cost to the customer, the party was cakeless, and that business lost a customer forever. While that cake thawed, we have had instances where the customer's product can get too cold. One in particular was a research facility that was sending hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of specimen samples. The samples needed to remain 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, but their product kept freezing. The customer was sending shipments overseas and needed to use dry ice and also frozen cold packs. After multiple failed attempts, the customer turned to the experts at Polar Tech. They sent us very detailed pictures and information, and what we found was that their product was too close to the dry ice. In order to make their pack out work, Polar Tech suggested using a buffer, such as dunnage material and phase change cold packs. The customer needed to use ambient gel packs in between the product and the dry ice. This saved the customer failed shipments, ruined specimen, and costly replacements. Our expertise did the job. If your specifications need more attention, we do have in-house testing services available to find the right solution for you.
But my pack out is working fine. You might assume this is true. However, your customers might be settling for slightly melted chocolate, gummies, and vitamins at least the first time it happens. These items should arrive the exact same way you ship them, melt-free, and there's always room for improvement. Let's see what steps you can take today to perfect your packaging. Prove it by conducting your own tests at home. I encourage you to reach out to us, purchase samples for this step. Give me a call, mention this webinar, and I'll give you a discount on the samples. To conduct a test, you will need your product, cold packs, shipping container, dunnage, and a thermometer. Precondition or freeze and refrigerate your product and the cold packs. Once they are properly conditioned, place your product inside the container and surround it with cold packs. If there are any air gaps, fill it with more cold packs or dunnage material. Close up the box. Poke the thermometer through the package. Try to get the thermometer into the center of the pack out without puncturing your products or the cold packs. You can then place your pack out in the trunk of your car to simulate the transit on a hot truck. Every 4 to 6 hours, record the temperature. This way you can test for yourself how long your pack out works. If you find the test failing quicker than you'd like, 1 to 2 days, add more cold packs. If your test is lasting as long as you're hoping for, time for a real test drive. Remove all the items, precondition once again, and repack out. Then send the package to a colleague. Make sure to check the transit time before sending. If you only tested for 3 days, but it takes 5 days to get there, retest at home for 5 days or check with your carrier to choose a different shipping transit time. Feel free to give me a call here at Polar Tech if you need any help with any of these steps. And then be sure to add an extra day to testing in case there are any service delays when shipping. It is also important to test in different seasons. You will need thicker insulation and more cold packs during summer and hot fall and spring than you may need during the winter. The testing procedure will be similar to what was mentioned. And of course, hire the experts. If you have tried these steps and need more help, give us a call. We have recently renovated our testing facility. It is larger with more temperature chambers, so we are ready to conduct more tests. We are ready and waiting for you, so let us help. The process does not end with having testing data on file. Continuous review and improvement will ensure continuous success.
That's spot on, Samantha. Testing does not always line up to real-life experiences and the unknown hazards of distribution. That's where quality control comes into play. When it comes to customer complaints, Getting feedback on failed shipments can be simple with a plan and a procedure in place. Since your customers spend money on food or pharma items that they need, and their products arrive damaged, they will call and complain right away. Listen to your customer complaints and feedback. Sometimes customers will leave dreadful reviews, which we all know will deter new business. When you receive complaints, always ask your customer to send clear pictures and provide concise details regarding issue of the failed products and packaging. When it comes to irate customers, it may be difficult to get clear feedback. In many cases, explaining your desire to identify root cause and the need to put a corrective action in place leads to even irate customers wanting to help improve the process. Some pertinent information to obtain from your customers and provide to us would be the duration your package was in transit and in what shipping lane. You should have gotten that information from your tracking from your carrier. Pictures from the customer, insulation type and thickness, weight of the product, weight of the total package, type and quantity of cold packs, and how frequent this happens. Packaging suppliers and carriers require clear and concise details to substantiate the claims. The details will help complete claims not only for root cause and corrective action, but for swift resolution of the claim itself. Sometimes the root cause is not apparent. What may look like a bad cold pack was really a lack of packaging. It is a good idea to follow up with your customers even if they did not complain. Ask them for feedback on the packaging, not just your products. If there was a part of the packaging that worked really well, it's also helpful for you and us to know. Understanding what is not working and what works well allows for root cause analysis, which is typically insufficient packaging materials.
Those are some great points, Autumn. What you said is exactly what I need to provide timely solutions when customers call in with issues. Let's take a look at what using improper materials looks like. A new customer reached out to us. They were using the denim style box liners. They had two issues at hand. One, the liners were not keeping the product frozen well enough during a 48-hour transit. And two, the denim liners were being reported by end users to smell bad, more likely from absorbing condensation. We switched them over to EPS 1.5 inch, which raised their R value, allowing them to successfully ship 48-hour shipments, frozen shipments with dry ice. The EPS also provided more protection for their heavy meat cuts and resolved the smell issue. The customer had good intentions. They wanted something curbside recyclable that protected their products. What they got instead was smelly packaging and upset end users. It is critical to select proper and sufficient packaging that will withstand the impact of variable weather and distribution hazards. Liners are not conducive to summer months, especially if they do not have a protective poly to prevent condensation from being absorbed.
We have reviewed, using improper and insufficient packaging leads to damage. It also leads to excess claims, chargebacks, refunds, replacements, denial of claims, and lost customers. Did you know carriers, manufacturers, and suppliers may not be able to process claims for replacements, returns, or credit due to improper packaging? Using quality packaging materials to properly protect your products from perishing is the most efficient and environmentally friendly action you can take. Your focus needs to be on real solutions that work, not just eco-friendly that sounds good on paper and in marketing. Proper packaging using quality material allows shippers to save money and time in the long run. Be a part of your customer's success story by packaging properly the first time, every time. As a manufacturer, Polartec may be unable to process claims to improper packaging. This is especially so as we provide samples, basic guidelines, and technical support before our customers even use our product. If you're only using a cardboard box with cold packs but no insulation during peak summer, then you are not packaging properly. So you may be asking, what is proper and sufficient packaging? Polartec is here to help.
Yes, we are here to help. We are moving on to a new section about the hallmarks of proper packaging. This is where you might find a quick fix to common problems, so listen up. On the right, we see a visualization of an ideal pack out. 1, the insulated foam container has an adequate wall thickness. 2, there's a proper ratio of cold packs to product. And 3, the cold packs surround the product. 4, minimized air gaps is achieved through the absorbent dunnage material. 5, we even have a poly bag around the cold packs in the product. 6, labels are on the corrugated box saying rush and this way up. And 7, though it's not pictured, having a temperature indicator or monitor greatly benefits your pack out. That was the overview. So now let's analyze the advantages of each component.
We get calls from companies seeking our expert technical advice on why they receive customer complaints on their existing packaging. Many of these companies wonder why their customers receive products that are leaking, damaged, or out of temperature. Often, companies attempt to save money by insufficient packaging materials, as we find they are typically using corrugated boxes, thin liners, and/or not enough cold pack refrigerants. Can your package withstand a drop test? If you answered, I don't know, yet you currently spend money on wasted products or replacements, then you likely do know the answer. Secure repeat business and maintain your good reputation. Start with a sufficient insulated container, including a custom branded outer container with your company name printed with pride. Proper wall insulation on the foam container is critical to keep your product safe from thermal excursions, as well as absorb physical shock. Polartec always recommends companies switch to thicker EPS foam containers, especially during hot summer months, as Samantha mentioned earlier. One reason for this is the thick-walled EPS foam containers not only protect against thermal excursions, but they also absorb the shocks from when carriers inevitably drop the items. When the insufficiently packaged products are dropped multiple times, we have seen customer products and even cold packs break or burst from the force of dropping even 4 feet. We have all seen those viral videos of thrown TV packages and drop kick boxes. Imagine that being your product, because it does happen. Corrugated boxes and liners do not prevent optimal drop protection, let alone thermal protection. Using our foam containers will absorb the shock and keep all contents, including your products, secure from real-world distribution hazards. Expanded polystyrene insulated containers are time-tested, tried and true for cold chain protection. Polartec offers thinner wall, 3/4 inch overnight EPS foam up to 3-inch wall for longer transit times, as shown in the image above. Once you determine what size container and wall thickness is right for your products, it's on to the next step, keeping it cold.
Points 2 and 3 are about cold packs. We need a proper ratio of cold packs to product, and the cold packs need to be placed correctly within the shipment. The chart on the right covers a few starting points to keep your product cold. It could vary due to your different products and how they are preconditioned for different times of the year, due to variable shipping lanes and the duration in transit. If you are shipping refrigerated perishables overnight, a good rule of thumb is to use half the weight of your product to be the weight of your refrigerant. Are you shipping 1 to 2 days? We recommend using the same weight of your product to be the weight of your cold packs. If your shipments are in transit for 3 to 5 days, use double the weight of your product to be the weight of your cold packs. A few notes: use fewer, larger cold packs instead of an excess of smaller ones. If your shipment is in transit for over 5 days, call Samantha for help in your specific case. A telltale sign that your pack out is not working is if the cold packs are completely thawed upon arrival. This means that you will need more refrigerant. It could also mean that the shipment took too long to reach the destination. If you planned on overnight transit, for example, but it took 4 days, file a claim with your carrier. Remember to plan for the worst case scenario, not the best. On to step 3, cold pack placement. You will want to surround your product on all 4 sides and on top and bottom as best as possible. We know that sometimes this isn't necessary depending on the shape of your product, so placing the packs on 2 of the opposite sides or one large cold pack on top might be your best option. This is why we recommend testing your product first in multiple scenarios. We have now reviewed insulated containers and cold packs, which brings us to step 4.
Minimize air gaps. You want to avoid air gaps because they allow for heat energy to penetrate your product. The dunnage acts as an insulating material which slows down the heat transfer. You can use absorbent wadding, newsprint, single-face corrugated, die-cut foam pieces, or packaging peanuts. The best material we've seen for this is the absorbent cellulose wadding. This way you are filling air gaps and absorbing any condensation. Bubble wrap should not even be an option to fill air gaps because it's basically a bunch of tiny air gaps collecting warm air. Using dunnage material properly is very important too. Take this picture for instance. We lightly crumbled newsprint to surround the cheesecake. If it was crunched too much, it would not work well for shock absorption. If you are using peanuts, you will want to crown or overfill slightly the box with them, then push them down in the box. The S-shaped peanuts will actually lock into place, which further closes those air gaps and prevents shifting products. Now let's take a look at another product that provides additional temperature assurance.
Poly bags not only prevent condensation or spills from damaging other products, but they also hold in the cold to protect your products longer during transit. I have plenty of personal experience when it comes to ordering meal kits. The sheer amount of improper orders I receive full of sloppy, wet boxes filled with cold pack and chicken goo is both embarrassing and disappointing. So about 7 months ago, I received the most distressing yet memorable meal kit package ever. On a hot summer day, I came home in the afternoon and saw my much anticipated meal kit sitting by my front door. As usual, I lifted the package off my doorstep to carry it into my house. Much to my chagrin, the package felt damp on the bottom, where it ended up not only trailing goo from my doorstep and into my kitchen, but it also leaked some sort of mess all over my pants and shoes. We're talking a leaky cold pack and raw chicken goo on my shoe and my foot since I had sandals on. It was a harrowing experience that I do not care to relive, but I am today, as it is an important experience to share with you. I don't even like touching chicken goo while cooking. Meanwhile, this mess trailed across my home. Obviously, the chicken went directly into the garbage. The reason for the mess was simply insufficient packaging, including a thin liner with no poly bag, not enough refrigerant, which means it and the chicken thawed before arrival. I did report the experience to the company I purchased it from, yet received no response. Needless to say, I've not ordered from that company since. Proper packaging matters to your customers, and it needs to matter to you. The shipper was not using Polartec products. Had the shipper used a poly bag to place the items in, the goo would have at least been contained. If FedEx or UPS sees this happening to your shipping boxes, they're quick to add service fees as it causes damage to other packaging and even to their conveying equipment. Using a poly bag is a quick and simple solution to the problem. It also helps to keep cold energy in the box when placing the product in cold packs in the poly and then into the insulated container. Now that you know an inexpensive yet powerful solution is by adding a poly bag, let's move to step 6.
Labels are critical for packaging handlers to understand how to handle your product, your very important cold chain products. For special handling, often your cakes or live fish might need to be oriented upright during transit and delivery. So having a "this way up" label is imperative to proper handling. Labels are also required for biological and hazardous materials such as dry ice. But we also offer temperature awareness labels. Think of it like this. If your product is delivered to an office, the receptionist might not be aware it needs to freeze upon arrival. By the end of the day, your product could be ruined. We hear of similar situations where a neighbor notices the "refrigerate upon arrival" label and stores the package in a refrigerator until the customer gets home from staying late after work. For about 5 cents, adding a label is a simple and cost-effective way to make sure the end user and carrier properly handles the package, add labels to your next order. Did you know Polartec thermo chill boxes already have value-added instructions, including rush, perishable, this way up indicator printed right on the sides? Labels are great for providing critical directions to those handling packages. That may not be enough when it comes to your peace of mind or your customers, which takes us to the seventh and final step.
Another simple, inexpensive solution are temperature indicators, tilt indicators, or temperature monitors. It is helpful for shippers to use temperature and tilt indicators in packaging during shipping and transport to introduce accountability measures. This helps recipients and shippers alike to identify excursions in temperature and movement. Another great option would be the temperature monitors that record and provide real-time excursions. Monitoring and measuring devices play a vital role in identifying unfavorable events during transit and empower you to take meaningful action to reduce the likelihood of product damage. In an event that a temperature excursion occurs, indicators and recorders give you the data needed to improve the integrity of the cold chain. They also help with claims. For example, should damage occur from improper carrier handling and your carrier attempts to deny your claim, you now have a device that supports your claim. That covers all 7 steps in the hallmarks of proper packaging.
So what's in it for me? Save money by using proper materials correctly. This allows you to prepare for the worst case scenario. You can gain and keep new business when your customers receive your product the exact same way you shipped it. Save materials. If your customer receives your product in perfect condition, you do not need to spend money on costly replacements. Save time. You know that lengthy conversation you sat through while an upset customer yelled at you over the phone after they received goo on their shoe or brown mush? With the correct packaging, this could be a thing of the past. Save on shipping claims and fees by avoiding them completely or by using temperature and tilt indicators to support your claim. Save the environment. Reduce waste by shipping your product the right way the first time. No need to send multiple replacements. No need for the customer to throw away your product due to premature perishing. Maintain a positive brand image and happy customers using your products the way is the ultimate win and why you are here today.
Here's a quick recap. We can avoid the disastrous stories we covered. I'm thinking of Autumn's goo on her shoe. Gross. How do we avoid this? First, test and compare. Track the temperature of your perishables and make sure to test a duration in transit that's even longer than you expect. Second, double down on quality control. Listen to customer feedback. Reach out. Research instances that go awry. Next, avoid improper materials. Always properly package your products with quality materials and prepare for the worst case scenarios, not the best. This will help prevent claims and fees. Here are the hallmarks of proper packaging. To give your pack out the best chance of success, use an insulated foam container with an adequate wall thickness. Use enough cold packs for your transit duration and place them properly around your product. Minimize air gaps with dunnage, and be sure to use a poly bag, labels, and temperature indicators. Thank you so much for joining us for So You Think Your Pack Out Works? Hopefully this will spark curiosity about your own pack outs. So, do you still think your pack out works? Do you know your pack out works? If you can't say a definitive yes, then please let us help you. So let's talk. We are opening the chat now to hear from you. This will be a 10-minute Q&A session for you to, it's the perfect time to bring up points that you want to hear about, or if you need clarification on anything. I did see a couple of hands raised, so let's open this chat right now so that we can get talking. Yes, I believe it's working now. All right, so I have to admit I have been sitting on a dad joke this whole webinar and I can't hold back anymore. So, why are shipping jokes so funny?
Why, Laura?
It's all in the delivery.
It's a good one.
Never heard that before.
Oh, I'm sure not. next question
Good
is,
one.
what temperature indicators have you had the best experience with?
So we have a couple different types of temperature indicators. We have some that just monitor when your product goes outside of the temperature that you need to maintain. If it's 2 to 8, we have like a 2 to 8 temperature tag. It really just depends on what temperature you need to maintain, and it'll show if your package went outside of that temperature. And those seem to work very well.
All right, we have another question. What is a denim style liner from slide 8?
So there are different types of liners out there. The denim style liner is made from a recycled jean material. They come with a part A and a part B. So you'd have the part A comes here and it fits just like this. And sometimes they have a protective poly on the outside. Lately, we've seen that they just have sort of like a piece of, Autumn, how would you explain it? What's on the outside of that?
Some sort of perforated, it's a perforated laminate maybe. I mean, the denim liner style isn't very consistent. Polartec used to offer that as a solution, and now we are offering more of a cornstarch bio-based one that actually works better anyways. It's contained and protected in a poly covering, so it's a lot better option. But the denim one, because it's made out of the recyclable, like cotton type materials, it's very inconsistent, and so if you have to maintain a solid temperature, I definitely don't recommend it.
Another question we have: what is the difference between poly liner versus non-transparent, and do the liners have a seal?
Look up non-transparent. That's something I'm not familiar with. Maybe that's just something we don't offer, which is why I'm not familiar with it. But in terms of the seal, we don't typically provide like even in the pack outs that we have in our guidelines, we don't typically have a liner with the seal, because we have customers that might be using dry ice and you cannot seal it because it essentially becomes a bomb, and as the dry ice sublimates, it gases out. So we typically would recommend people to like kind of twist the bag kind of like you would your bread before you put a tie on, and then just gently lower it down and then put the insulated container lid on top.
Do you have eco-friendly thermal shipping containers besides foam?
Absolutely. I want to say our part numbers start with 1610 on our website. It's a bio liner. Like I said earlier, it's made out of more of a cornstarch material with a liner around it to protect it. So it has very good test data in terms of being able to be similar in comparison to the EPS. It still isn't 100% comparable to the EPS. What's nice about the containers are they're molded, and so there's not a lot of escape points like liners have to allow the heat to, the cold air to go out and the heat to come in. So the containers are still the best option, but if you're looking for biodegradable, we have those bio liners online. I would like to share, though, that the EPS bead, they have some of the vendors out there are starting to use only biodegradable bead. So that's something that we are looking into testing now and will likely be rolling out sometime next year.
Do moisture-safe packs need dunnage or a liner?
Yes, you will still need dunnage and a liner. The dunnage not only acts as an absorbent material, but it also prevents shifting during transit. And you will always need some sort of liner for cold chain packaging. Without that liner, you're not really keeping the cold temperatures in, and you're allowing the heat energy to penetrate your product. So you'll always need some sort of liner.
When would you use the goo type refrigerant versus refreezer bricks type coolant?
It really depends on customer preference. The refreezer bricks are very, they are a rectangle, and they hold that shape usually a lot better than the gel packs. They also, because it's foam based, it has more surface area, so it is colder longer. Hands down, the refreezer bricks beat out any of the gel packs. We also have different options for gel packs. We have a leak-proof refrigerant. That's Polartec's proprietary brand that's voted best in the world, in fact, since the 1980s. But then we also offer the economical, which is our grab and go line, just to have a competitive gel pack out there for the market. That's go ahead, Samantha.
What I'd like to add about the refreezer bricks is on our website, through testing that Polartec has done, we've seen that it lasts 10% longer than the gel. However, I was working with the customer. They've done extensive testing with our gel packs and the refreezer bricks, and they said that they've noticed that they've lasted the temperature 20 to 30% longer. So that's why testing on your own is so important. I was like, cool. Good.
What would the ratio be if we were using ice packs and dry ice snow?
Get a little bit more information to truly answer that technically. It depends on what you're trying to get out of the package, your package. So if you're looking at 1 day versus 2-3 days, it would vary greatly. Samantha, would you add anything?
Dry ice sublimates at about a rate of 5 pounds per 24 hours. I love to recommend to add dry ice to your cold packs if your product needs to stay, if your product is being shipped frozen but can defrost, because adding even just that just under 5 pounds will extend your pack out by 1 day, and under 5 pounds, you do not need to declare it with your carrier. You might want to check your carrier because different locals might be different, but for the most part, if you use less than 5 pounds, you do not need to declare it with your carrier, so you save on service fees that way.
And if you wanted to contact Samantha directly about your particular instance, her extension and her email is on the screen, so you could jot that down and send her a message, an email. And then this is a lovely question. Could a customer ship you a current packaging setup to evaluate?
We prefer that. Gives us hands-on ability to help with the technical pack out of and what you're trying to achieve. So Samantha's favorite thing is to get those and get her hands, roll up her sleeves and get physically helping with the pack out.
Yeah, we have over 200 sizes of containers, and sometimes just getting your dimensions, it's not on via email or over the phone, just doesn't help as much as actually getting my hands on your product physically. So the container of your product, whatever you can send me samples of, that way I can just scour our database and find something that will work for you, pull the samples myself, and send it all back to you so you can take a look at it and freeze it and do your own testing.
We are nearing the end of our question window here. Our Q&A is coming to a close soon. If you have any last minute thoughts, you could share them with us and we could look at them now. There is a common question of how much are temperature indicators and tilt indicators, and we have an answer for that in case you were wondering.
They range about $1.50 per indicator.
Well, I would say that ends the questions, and I'm deeply appreciative that you all came today and we got to explore So You Think Your Pack Out Works Together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye.